there's so many things I want to talk about, but we're kind of, it's stuff I want to talk about on the pod because it all relates to the Open Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to give these guys a cutoff time?
If they email me, we can just start, and if they email me and tell me they're available, I'll bring them in.
Cool. Okay, because I definitely have a 5:30 hard out since we didn't really plan this today.
Okay.
So 45 minutes. That's more than enough, I think. Like, unless we have somebody jump in, I don't think there's that much content.
No, I'm hoping to keep this under 30 this week, just because this is impromptu, and we did 2 episodes last week, so I don't I wouldn't have felt bad if we did nothing this week because I said that was a possibility, but
yeah, just a quick special. What's up? What's up? I don't know what your problem is. I'm gonna podcast. Go away. All right. You want me to just bring us in?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to wait until whatever that is stops.
The thing in my background?
Yeah, what just happened?
It's the AC.
Oh, it just kicked in. Okay.
Yeah, let me downgrade my mic or something. Hold on.
It's not that bad. It was just like right as we were about to start, it was like, whoa.
Yeah, it's always worse when it's like just starting. And I just
honestly, it's not bad.
I just agree that people won't be interested in just you and me because apparently people think I should co-host Soccer Morning.
I didn't even know that was a thing until you mentioned it, like the voting thing.
I've got at least 5 votes on there.
That's awesome.
Out of 82, which I guess everyone who's above me has so many more Twitter followers than me, at least 100 times, if not more.
Well, I saw that one of the hosts retweeted the thing where you mentioned like don't vote for me.
Yeah. That might have helped, honestly.
I don't follow any podcasts like soccer related because I don't have the time. Like I used to have a long commute and I would listen to a bunch of podcasts, but I don't really have the time. Like there's no time other than like I guess if I was like sitting at home listening to podcasts while I was doing something else, but I feel like I'm only half paying attention. Like I like to drive and do it because like all I'm doing is driving. Like my focus as far as like auditory stuff is really easy to listen to, but I just don't have that much of a commute anymore.
Yeah, I listen to like 1.5 podcasts a week total, just in general.
Yeah.
So I run a podcast, don't actually listen to any podcasts.
Yeah, totally. All right, well.
Hold on, let me go plug in my computer because my computer says it's not happy. So.
Not happy with you.
And today there's clothes behind me instead of scarves because whatever.
Well, still not a video podcast, so.
Yeah. Well, I like to have the scarf wall for when we bring in impressive people like Matt Doyle and shit. So.
Totally. Oh, which reminds me, the fucking ECS people are totally lagging behind. So I didn't tell you the whole story because I did want to send you a really cool scarf, but at the moment, like the way that they kind of do it is they don't sell scarves individually until near the end of the year, or at least like at other points where they feel confident that they've sold most of like the whole membership packs that those scarves come in. So we're not quite at that point yet. So I was like, hey, look, I'd love to get a previous year's scarf because I actually like some of the previous years more than the current year, and I have a particular one or two in mind that I really think would be cool to add to your collection there. And they were like, oh yeah, totally. We actually have, I don't know, 15 of each year laying around, and we're intending to put those on sale in the month of May. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. I can just kind of wait it out till May and see what they've got to offer. And it's arguably still May, but it's not up yet. And I've bugged the girl.
It's definitely still May. I mean, that's not arguable.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right. But yeah. So that's the deal. I'm working on. I don't have any options to get you a scarf. I don't have any doubles. Like I would love to send you one of my own, but then I wouldn't have one of those, and then who knows?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But let's talk some soccer here.
Let's do it.
I guess out of the two of us, I'm still the host, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Welcome back to Slash MLS. Well, I guess we're not really welcoming you back, but this is a very special episode. I'm going to go ahead and dub this.
We're not welcoming them? Are we mad at them or something?
Well, we're not welcoming them back from any sort of interview break or... Oh. I mean, welcome back from last week. If you're still listening, I guess that's a good thing. I'm gonna go ahead and just dub this Open Cup Madness edition.
Yeah.
So we decided to kind of put this together because the Open Cup games that happened over the last 48 hours prompted a lot of discussion in our circles, and we wanted to just kind of share that and get it out to the masses that listen to this podcast. So. Here we are, Ian. Looks like it's just the two of us. I'm username Punk Rock Pete.
I'm Ian, username Armascaro.
And unless we have some last-minute guests, it might just be the two of us tonight.
Which is fine. These things happen. It'll be a short one, so that you guys who are still catching up on the 2 hours from last week can be a little bit happy with us.
A little bit of podcast fatigue.
Yeah.
I thought it was 2 solid episodes. There was some great content.
Yeah, I thought it was 2 pretty okay episodes also.
So, do you have anything you're itching to talk about from last night? I mean, I guess the big headlines would just be that we had a number of upsets.
Well, we had 3, so I thought about this. We usually have like 5 or 6 amateur teams coming into the MLS round, and then they almost all get stomped. Like Michigan Bucks, and Michigan Bucks makes it to the round a lot, but only 3 made it this year, probably simply because there's just a lot more USL and NASL teams. But the teams that did make it did so in epic fashion, and it was awesome. And the very, very first thing I want to talk about is the Laredo Heat, who their announcer needs to get noticed. I'm noticing him. People spread the word. The Laredo Heat announcer. So I've always been intrigued by because I love the Spanish style of commentating, like the Mexican style of commentating, but they almost never speak English, right? So unless you're learning Spanish or no Spanish, and I'm trying to learn, but I'm not anywhere near good enough yet. It's difficult to follow along, but he basically uses the Spanish style of commentating, but speaks English. And so when Laredo scored in the 87th minute to equalize, he was like, goal, 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 and it was amazing. And then I don't know, his energy was perfect. It wasn't contrived like Gus Johnson's can feel like, and it was great. And
that's awesome.
And it made me root for Laredo against an ASL rival, Fort Lauderdale. So that was also cool.
So it seems like that was kind of a crazy game. I didn't watch the video, but I did a little bit of Twitter following. And Fort Lauderdale jumped out to a 2-0 lead with 12, 13 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
And then the goalie took a red card in the 20th. What was the story there?
I actually wasn't. So that's the period of time when a whole bunch of games were on YouTube, and
right.
So I was trying to watch 6 games at a time. I cut it down to 2. I was like, all right, I'm gonna split my screen, watch 2 at a time, because otherwise I'm just not gonna pay attention to anything. And that was during a period of time where I wasn't watching that game because it was already 2-0. I was like, oh, Fort Lauderdale's got this. And then I see it on Twitter. I'm like, oh wow, well then, interesting. Then Laredo comes back, and then they get a penalty in the very, very last minute to beat Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I'm pulling it up right now. Yeah, it looks like it was handling the ball outside of the box, showing a straight red for denying a goal-scoring opportunity. So that's pretty exciting. You know, that's what I love about this time of year with the Open Cup. The fact that you had 6 different games to choose from, and I think people were still complaining about the lack of streams. You know,
I was definitely, because only between all of the USL and NASL teams, only one streamed, and it was Charleston. Carolina didn't stream. Orlando didn't stream. Richmond didn't stream. Pittsburgh,
Dayton.
Sacramento.
Yeah.
Well, Dayton's game was streamed
they were?
by U.S. Soccer. Yeah, because they were playing Indy.
that was the game of the round or whatever. The stream of the round. Yeah. That's good news.
But Rochester didn't. Like, no one did. It was kind of depressing. The Cosmos didn't.
I think it's especially upsetting because all those USL Pro teams stream their regular games, right? They're all for free on YouTube, so we know that they have the video capability. Assuming they were the home team, I'm sure that there were a couple of lower level teams that were hosting, right? I mean,
well, that's the thing. Like, all of the streams were either run. There was one between USL and NASL. There was only one that did it themselves, and that was Charleston. The Laredo game was streamed by Laredo, and that was in Fort Lauderdale. And
wow.
Yeah. Chattanooga hosted Atlanta, and they streamed their game. There was another, I think, that was happening at the same time. Well, Charleston, yeah, they did theirs. And then obviously Indy was done by U.S. Soccer. But, I mean, there was just... It was still a great night of soccer, but it could have been even better, because I wanted to watch my Railhawks beat the Charlotte Eagles last opportunity at an Open Cup run, and it was great. But it was
not. And they did it, right?
They did, but I didn't get to see any of it.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2 games that I had my eye the closest on were both just Twitter, unfortunately. As some people may or may not know, I've been rocking PSA Elite Flare this week because I love seeing amateur teams go. You know, I certainly wish there'd been more than 3, but I that kind of Cinderella story is always my favorite. And they had to travel to Los Dos, LA Galaxy 2, and you know, I believe, Ian, correct me if I'm wrong, they're the team that got through because of the forfeit last round, right? No? Am I wrong about that?
You might be right about that, actually.
I think they may have been the team that advanced because San Diego had to forfeit with the whole field issue, and then U.S. Soccer saying, it's too late, your forfeit already counts, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that really sucked.
I feel like that was San Diego, and so the feeling was like, that kind of sucks. This amateur team is going to get through on this technicality, and then they're going to go play Los Dos, and they're going to get schooled. But they didn't, and it was a really exciting game. Like, I would have to say it was probably the most exciting, like, live tweeting that I've read on Twitter, maybe ever, because it was just crazy. So it sounded like Los Dos was clearly dominating the game, but just could not finish at all, and the PSA keeper just stood on his head. Travis Bowen's name came up like 1,000 times throughout that game, where he just missed chance after chance, kicked it directly to the keeper, skied it over the bar. Like, I mean, it really was shocking to me that even at half it was already still 0-0, and it continued that way with PSA just grinding it out, and they went into extra time still, at a 0-0 draw. And the last 10 minutes of that tweet fest was just non-stop chances by the Galaxy 2 that they could not put away.
Including a penalty, right?
Including a Tristan Bowen penalty that so it was crazy because Los Dos, whoever's running their Twitter feed, is absolutely terrible. I'm going to call him out because they would just say things like, "Oh, that looks great for Jack." Like, it's just no context, not using full names. at the first few minutes, it wasn't even clear whether the kick was going to be taken by the Galaxy or against them. Like, it was really, really poor twittering or tweeting. And at the last second, going into right about the time that Bowen missed that penalty kick, a special tweeter showed up and kind of made everyone in Seattle's night better, because we all were rooting for PSA Elite because they were the team that would come visit Seattle if they won. Mm-hmm. If Galaxy won, we'd have to go down there. So the whole Sounders fan base kind of picked up on that idea for cheering on the little guy to have them come up and have us host. And so out of nowhere, this guy, Will Robinson, Twitter name @Will_Robinson_, he lists himself as a Reuters correspondent, and decided that he would do his first ever live tweeting from this game, and it was like 10 times better than the Los Dos guy. He had names and specifics and commentary. Somebody asked
the basic stuff.
Yeah, the basic stuff that you would report on during a game happening.
Yeah.
And he mentioned that more than anything the Tristan Bowen penalty was just poorly taken, and he had all of us on the edge of our seats up through extra time, and then it went to penalties. And I think the general feeling in Seattle was this is definitely going to go the Galaxy's way. They've got much better talent when it comes to PKs, and it ended up 3-1 for PSA Elite. And the Galaxy was just they did a terrible job, to be honest. Like, they were either kicking it to the keeper, over the bar, missed the frame completely. I mean, they had some very, very poorly taken penalties at home to advance a 0-0 draw against an amateur side and just couldn't get it done. So
compare that with Orlando's U23s, who went to the 14th round of a shootout.
Yeah.
I watched every single penalty